Welcome to Educated Bowlers, Marshall's only adult programming.
Yeah. Look here.
Oh, and we have a ball for me.
I got a fucking ball.
It's like this, right?
Right.
No, that he said that means nothing, right? It's supposed to have a dress on it.
Yeah, that's true. Hospital dress.
It's a hospital dress.
Well, it looked like kind of like a hospital gown. I think it might have been a hospital gown. I don't know.
It's like grandma's gown or something.
And you need to have some rubber gloves.
Oh, that's right. I left rubber gloves on here.
So it's pretty much useless.
So,
Anyhow,
should
this
I
is
tell my life story now, or?
Well, first I'll just set it up a little bit here. This is Educated Bowlers on location in St. Louis, and introduce yourself.
My name's Jerry. I'm just one of Tim's old college friends. I have nothing to do with Minnesota.
Jerry Becker.
And actually, yeah, that'd be Jerry Becker.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually grew up in the Missouri Ozarks, I guess. To you people in Minnesota, you don't know what that means. You probably think there's mountains in Missouri or something like that, because the Ozark Mountains are here. But don't come down here to see mountains, because that's all bullshit.
There's no mountains?
Well, I just get this impression that, they think if you go like 1,000 miles in any direction, except for like maybe east and south, you get some kind of hills or mountains if you go in those directions. But if you go north or west, even from Missouri, you get a bunch of flatlands and farmlands.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess people who are not from southern Missouri, they come to Missouri to see the Ozarks there, because they believe there's something to be found in Branson and all that bullshit.
I would think that when I hear the Ozarks, I think of like hillbilly country.
Yeah, country people.
Rednecks.
People from southern Missouri have this attitude that they have these mountains around them, and that they're better than the people who live on the flat farmlands that are in the north or something like that. So
you admit there are mountains, Jerry Becker?
Well, there's not. That's the kind of a joke about it, because there's not really mountains like you'd see in Colorado. There's like the mountains that we have here are very, very old, so you don't. I guess that's right. The reason why you don't see like the Rocky Peaks and things like that.
So they're maybe not as tall or something.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think there's not any elevations going on around here. It's more like hills that you would see in northern Minnesota, I guess.
So do you know any hillbillies? Have you ever like been in the woods, and you kind of have that moment where you feel like Ned Beatty, and some guys like behind you saying, "Squeal like a pig for me, fat boy."
No, I haven't really had that experience, but
or where somebody says, "You got a purty mouth," that kind of stuff. Playing a banjo.
Well, actually, I didn't. I guess all the gay people that I ever knew that went to SEMO, they were.
But now, Jerry,
they were actually not from the rural areas. They were. Well, I'll take that back.
See, that's the thing, though. Gay like hillbillies wouldn't say, "Hey, I'm a gay hillbilly." It's not. They'll just
feel like a pig.
They'll fuck you, and see, some people who like that kind of thing, they sort of believe that as long as they're doing the fucking, they're not gay. Like, if you actually fuck them in the ass, then they'd be gay. If they were like, the metaphor is catching instead of pitching or whatever, in baseball metaphor. So, according to the hillbillies, if they just want to fuck a sheep or a goat or a pig or a man sometime in the ass, that's just relieving a little tension. That's not gayness or anything. So anyway, that's just one theory.
Well, there's some people. I live a little bit south of St. Louis.
So you don't see all that.
And there's some people, like here in St. Louis, we say people from South St. Louis are further south than that, and that's where the joke around here is where does the South actually start? As far as whether you have people fucking the cows and
right,
or
yeah.
whatever.
That's always the question when you get into a new area. Like
I know one of my neighbors has a donkey, and
really?
sometimes I think I hear the donkey, making these bang noises in the middle
In
of the day,
ecstasy.
and I wonder if the donkey's safe from some of my neighbors. So,
Donkeys like screaming out the name of other donkeys or something, you know.
no, they just make that hee-haw noise, you know.
Yeah, but it's probably saying like, "Oh, Susie!" They're trying to think of some other donkey instead of a person, you know. So, donkey's named Susie. So let's get into some of the other topics. I know you prepared some things today. You're basically I think, you know, when I put this episode together, you'll probably be sort of the featured guest of the show. Of course, we might have a couple others, but so it's all you, Jer.
So it's basically me.
This is the Jerry Becker Show, and
well,
Jerry.
guess,
First of all, we got to establish any kind of
well, I need to fuck my hair up a little bit
fix
more,
your hair,
something
fix your
like
hair.
that. I need some hair gel.
Yeah,
so
right. That's
it
right.
sticks up right up
Like
like my bangs have to be up like this. But
Yeah. So anyway, do you have any kind of bowling credentials? Just out of curiosity. We know you're educated because you went to.
No. Well, I've been bowling like a couple times in my life.
Well, that's good enough for us. A couple
That
times.
qualifies me for your team, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much. If you ever end up in
But
Marshall.
I've seen some of the episodes, and I know that.
So yeah, that's good.
So I guess Joe is pretty much the star of the show usually, but.
Pretty much. He's
So when they see
he's renegotiating his salary
figure,
there.
well, Joe's not going to be here, so
Yeah.
you probably lose all your regular viewers during this.
We've had that before, though. They've hung with us. I think the thing they like, though, is that unlike most movie star bullshit, like our shows, we don't like go into hiatus for like, you know. Well, we do a little bit on the summer, but in the regular season, we're not like showing repeats every other week. We're cranking it out, baby. Good, bad, or ugly, we're there. So anyway, so what do you got prepared?
Well, this isn't the regular season, so.
No, you're right. Winter break here. So what do you got? What do you got? Let's talk.
As far as what?
You got any topics you want to bring up?
I was gonna. Well, of course, there's me and my
Your ball.
my yellow ball.
It's not quite yellow.
Also,
It's more like white, milky white. Kind of like a big ass fucking onion or pearl or something. Anyway, back to you.
it's supposed to be some fitness ball. Right?
Fitness ball. Yeah, you're supposed to like lay on it and shit. It's like, wow, that was a marketing stroke of luck or genius there. Anyway, topics.
Well, there's my unemployment state because
Okay.
I was actually. Well, this is like, I don't know if this was interesting to anybody, but I was
Sure.
actually laid off on my birthday
That blows.
because my manager actually forgot it was my birthday, and then I was very sick on Christmas Eve, which was I had 101 fever, and I just had the flu, and since of course I had no health insurance, so I couldn't really take anything for it. And then on New Year's Eve, actually on New Year's Eve day, not New Year's Day, I got my first unemployment check. So this is how my holidays have been so far.
So kind of the good balanced out the bad there when you got that check. You're probably thinking, man, this unemployment thing is the bomb. I'm getting a free check here.
Well, yeah, but it's just that it came on New Year's Eve.
Oh, right, yeah. Kinda
So
blew.
I figure I'm just hoping my wife doesn't divorce me on Valentine's Day.
That would suck.
And so basically, I figured that God really hates me.
Yeah. That's what I
And
always
I know this
figured.
isn't really funny, so it's not really something.
I thought that beforehand.
You thought that God's always hated me?
Yeah, before you got fired, I was pretty sure that God didn't like you. You know that, and we'll have to talk about. We could talk about that guy too, who the local politician, who has a little interesting view of.
Oh yeah, the Jesus loves you person.
Yeah.
You can mix that video in here.
Yeah, I'll splice a little in.
Yeah.
Go ahead and set it up though.
Oh well.
Well, they'll probably say it on there.
There's
Go ahead.
well, no, it doesn't really say what the hell they're talking about on this
A little
news program. It's this is like a news clip. What are you going to steal from Channel 2 here?
Yeah, what the fuck? They're gonna come after me in Marshall, Minnesota, saying you played our shitty recording of
Well, there's this You Paid For It guy. I think his name is Elliot Davis.
So it's like one of those things like the fleecing of America, where they show how
Right. Usually he's like chasing local people, local.
you
government
pay
people,
some
but-
big tax project that got fucked up somehow.
Yeah, that's what it usually is. He's usually chasing down the government employee about where they usually they paid $500,000 to fix up a street or a fence, and they put the fence across the street, and the street goes nowhere. It's some kind of stupid project like that the government built, and he's chasing them down, asking them about that. But this is especially interesting because there's this official on the county government here. It's close to St. Louis, and they just built this jail for juveniles, and the jail cost $10 million or whatever it was, and the jail has some extra problem that they have to solve before they can open a jail.
Yeah, it was something to do with some people wanted to put more security cameras in it, which is, I don't know, it sounds like it was a reasonable request. They just wanted to have more security cameras in there, and the guy, who this councilman is, didn't want the extra security cameras. It's like, what do they want to keep the security cameras out of there so the guards can beat the shit out of the inmates or whatever?
I thought it was about who's doing the security cameras, like who has a contract to put them in there.
I thought I think it really was about how many they should have in there, and apparently they've given up now and said, okay, we'll just do it with less security cameras. But anyway, before this agreement was reached, talk about the reaction when people complain and they picketed.
They started picketing in front of the city hall or whatever the government building was, and so this Elliot Davis guy, who's he's one of these news reporters and chases people down to ask them questions when they don't want to be talked to, kind of like Michael Moore.
Yeah.
Anyway, he chases down this one. I think he's like the county executive, or he's like the guy who's the chief of everything in this county, and he chases him down and asks him the question about where did the $10 million go for this jail, and instead of saying no comment, this government guy just says, Jesus loves you. and so my theory was, instead of saying no comment, he was saying like something a little bit more controversial, like, well, do you know, instead of saying no comment and running away, he just stands there and confronts the guy, and he says, do you know that Jesus loves you? And then, but you were saying something about that he might actually be trying to preach to him?
Well, it just sounds like such a bizarre thing to say that it's almost like the only person who would really, a politician, I mean, how many politicians, even Bush, like, who claims to be a Christian, you never hear him saying, by the way, folks, Jesus loves you. When he has a tough question, he'll just say no comment, or I can't really answer that at this time. Right, you can just say, I mean, you could have made up any reasonable sounding answer that could have just, or bullshit for that matter. You could have just said something like, well, that's an ongoing problem, and we got to get this situation straightened out before we can go forward. Blame the other guy. Say, hey, the judges, whoever the fuck wants to put these extra cameras in, they're the ones who want the extra security. I just want to just get this thing open. You could have made up anything. The point is for somebody to just say out of nowhere, by the way, Julius, or whatever his name is, do you know Jesus loves you? To answer that to a reporter, it's so out of the norm that you would have to think that they were a religious fanatic who really did think that their job was to convert the whole world, or for some reason their constituency, even if they weren't necessarily a Christian, that somehow that would be a way to pander to the constituency, to say like, I'm a disciple, I'm preaching, and look, this black reporter's here hassling me or whatever, that kind of thing.
Well, I guess I was thinking more like, all these people pay a few $1,000s a year on property taxes for the house, and they get some guy in the government that
right.
all he says is Jesus loves you.
Well, they should be up in arms.
Well, yeah, I was thinking instead of wanting to be preached to, they probably want to go kill him.
Right, but to me, the answer, it doesn't make. I mean, all you do is ask. By acting bizarrely, people are just even more. I mean, maybe they're a little bit confused, like, what's wrong with this guy? But it doesn't really do anything to diffuse their anger. To say, by the way, people, in fact, the people they interview on television, and again, we'll show the clip, were kind of responding to that. They were saying he's just hiding behind religion. So it's so obvious. I mean, they actually took him seriously. They didn't think he was just saying something like, by the way, Julius, did you know that the moon is made of cheese? That kind of stuff. I mean, so they acted as if he sincerely meant to say something about, like he was trying to preach, and then they thought it was kind of a wrong thing to do when somebody's asking you a question about politics, I mean, you could have just, Julius, if this guy is a Christian, could have just said, yes, I know Jesus loves me, I'm a true believer, can we get to the $10 million public works project that you're fucking the people with, that kind of thing? Or,
that's the other thing is I don't know if there was any follow-up questions. It wasn't in that report either, was it?
A lot of the things are in the subtle details, though. Notice that they don't call them prisons anymore or whatever. They call them juvenile justice centers. Even detention sounds a little bad, but justice center sounds like we're getting somewhere, doesn't it?